Noise is off. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Neil. I'm Dolly. We're going to do street epistemology today. I'm going to ask Neil questions about one of his favorite topics, Sikhism. Neil, who are you? Tell me about your thing.
Hello, my name is Neil. For everybody that doesn't know me on the stream, I am a British Sikh, and today I am going to discuss with Dali Sikhism, one of my favorite topics because it's my religion that I grew up in, and it's the religion that I am an adherent of today. And the reason why I feel this special connection to Sikhism is not just because of my upbringing, but it's also how it shaped me as a person growing up and how it shaped my everyday interactions with others. And when I got older, when I became more religious, it helped me understand not just myself, but just the world I live in when it comes to just current events, or when it comes to just the personal events in my life, like
Mhm.
new job changes, or when I find new people to interact with, and also my ethical behavior, like how can I be an even better person than I am
Mhm.
now.
Mm.
And so I'm really happy to discuss this with Dali today.
Mhm.
And I hope everybody on this live stream learns something from me and is able to take something positive away from this discussion.
Cool. So, I'm hearing that Sikhism helps you approach and navigate life really well. That's
Mhm.
one of the big reasons that I just heard for Sikhism is grand. Can you tell me about uh, what about Sikhism does that compared to, say, not Sikhism or alternates to Sikhism?
Okay, so with Sikhism, what makes it unique is that it helps me explain why there's so much like conflict in the world.
Hmm.
Like one of our first gurus, after he came out of this the lake after being divinely inspired by God,
Mm-hmm.
one of his first words was, "There are no Muslims, there are no Hindus," and what he meant by that is, so these are just titles that separate us, and at the end of the day, we're all children of God,
Okay.
and if you and the best thing to do with us is not see each other for our distinctions, but love each other for our similarities. Is
Mm.
that we are all deep down inside, all of us just want to reach the one,
Mm-hmm.
which is Waheguru. Waheguru is the name of our God,
Okay.
and uh, this is uh, this is one of the most important tenets, I would say, in Sikhism, and this is what distinguishes it from other religions, is that it doesn't matter what you believe. So it doesn't matter what kind of God you believe in, because as long as you believe in like a form of a God, then
Mm.
you're able to get saved in Sikhism. So what
Okay.
you if you're like a Christian
So if I
and
believe in God at all, I'm okay in terms of Sikh salvation.
yeah,
Okay. Go ahead.
yeah. So if someone is a Christian and if
Mhm.
someone comes up to me and asks me about Sikhism, um, I would say, if you want to learn more about Sikhism, you can.
Mhm.
Uh, I personally, as a Sikh, I don't want to. I'm not interested in changing anybody's religion to be. I don't like if somebody doesn't want to be Sikh, it's
Mhm.
fine. What I would do as a Sikh is I would help them become the best version of themselves. I'll help them become the best
Sure.
Christian that they could be. Um, I would uh, I would try and get him to become uh, more faithful and get him to focus more on the love of God. because there's one good story in the Guru Granth Sahib where
Mhm.
Guru Nanak was uh, in Mecca and he was invited to go to a mosque.
Mhm.
And when he was at that mosque, what he noticed was that a lot of people were saying the words, but the mind was not focused on
Mm.
God.
Mhm. Mhm.
They were just doing it just because it was just tradition. And that's
Yeah.
something the Guru took issue with.
Okay.
And that's why he said in that mosque, he didn't say, stop doing what you're doing and join Sikhism. He never said that. He just said, what you're doing is I see that you guys are not being as faithful as you guys are saying. You guys are just saying the words,
Right.
and you guys should be more devout in your religion, Islam, and that way you guys will be able to uh, attain peace with the one.
Mhm. Okay. Um, so he saw the problem was insufficient devotion, insufficient focus on God, and missing the point for these other labels, for these other divisions, for these other ideas. And the divisions didn't serve you. That you could be over here, you could be over here, you could be over here, and still all get to the win condition. Tell
Mhm.
me about the win condition. I come from a Christian background growing up, and I'm an atheist now. So my notion of like heaven and afterlife is probably Christian thinking.
Yeah.
What is heaven and afterlife and salvation and that sort of thing in Sikhism?
So in Sikhism, we don't have a heaven or hell. What we have is if you're a bad person, you will be reincarnated, and it's all due to somebody's resistance to God's hukum. Like
Mm-hmm.
like say this: you if you commit a lot of bad actions,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not in line with the will of God, then what will happen is those bad actions will lead you to become reincarnated into uh,
Okay.
maybe another being or an animal.
Okay.
Uh, see, the
So
Guru Granth
another
Sahib.
being like another human or another human-like intellect, as opposed
Mhm.
an animal would be a distinctly non-human-like intellect.
Yeah.
Okay, like as a distinct gradient. Cool.
Mhm.
All right.
And so, with that being said, I mean, we all, the Guru Granth Sahib says that we all go through these 8.4 billion life forms before we reach our current state.
Oh,
And it also says that,
is that
so
8 is that 8.4 referencing like the current human population, or
no,
it was 8.4 billion types of life forms in a descriptive structure or something?
yeah, in,
Okay.
and it's like, it doesn't just pertain to just Earth,
Mhm.
it pertains to like, other, other worlds as well.
Okay. I find the whole reincarnation thing much more compelling than the Christian afterlife for
Mhm.
lots and lots of reasons. The idea that it really appeals to my sense of fairness that if I'm going to have an afterlife notion, I I like the reincarnation one the best.
Mhm.
Sapper asks, how does one come to know the will of God in order to become in line with it?
Guess a good question. So one comes to know the will of God uh, from God's revelation, and God has made revelations with many different people, like the Jews,
Hmm.
Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Jains. The way to know the will of God is by discovering God, and that is through religions.
Hmm.
And when you follow them carefully, well, what you'll find is that you will be more in touch with the will of God, and good things will happen to you. and also,
Is the
um,
test for that I'm in goodwill with God that good things happen to me?
mhm.
Is and if bad things are happening to me, does that mean I'm probably not in the will of God?
Yeah. So if you're not, if bad things are happening to you, it does mean that you're not in uh, the will of God, and it probably because like you're doing a lot of bad things that are generating a lot of bad karma,
Mhm.
and that will definitely affect you in the next life. But we all have like a certain destiny, and
Okay.
everybody, uh, our whole goal is to get back to the one.
Okay.
And so the good thing with reincarnation, it gives you many different opportunities
Yeah.
uh, to become enlightened and become like uh, a very good person that's
Mhm.
very God fearing. And once and this is the great thing about Sikhism is like once you like reach mukti, which is what we call liberation,
Mhm.
which is you will be the rebirth cycle will just because of your good actions and because of your devotion, the rebirth cycle will stop and you will become merged with God. Like your
Okay.
soul will become one with God's soul.
And that's
And
that's the final win condition. That's the goal at the end. And
mhm,
that is probably to stop living in a human body, but I would assume cuz still living in a conscious experiential way as part of a much larger thing. But who knows? You tell me.
absolutely, it's definitely you're joining with something greater than yourself. So, with Sikhism, what we
Yeah.
think of as God is not the same way in the Abrahamic traditions. Wait, hold on a second.
Mhm. That's fine.
Dad, I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, sorry about that.
Fine.
Sorry, sorry for the
All
pause,
good.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so as I was saying before, so what it is in Sikhism, the
Mhm.
concept of God is that God is greater than creation, and
Mhm.
creation exists within God. So uh, God is like a giant circle, and the universe is a smaller circle within that bigger circle.
Yeah, so the universe is entirely contained within God, and then God is a superset of that and has some properties that are beyond the ordinary universe. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Um, outsider test. This is somebody coming from looking at comparative religions, and they say, "I've got this religion over here, yours, that says uh, all religions, or maybe not all religions, but many religions have a useful path toward this oneness, toward the win condition, and therefore we don't have to argue with them about the details. And this other religion says, no, absolutely, there is only one way, and it's exactly our specific way. And you have to be in this pew, in this church, on this day, and do this ritual. Okay, so there's a gradient there. How
Mhm.
do I decide where on the gradient is the right place to be? If I'm completely permissive, I could be wrong, and maybe the reality is over here. How do I choose?
Okay, so when it comes to other religions saying like my one is the only true religion, like
Mhm.
and we have stories about the gurus talking with people like this, specifically Muslims, because those were the group of people in India at the time uh, that were saying like this very exclusive, like we are the ones who have like the truth and everyone else is
I
wrong.
hear the song. We are the children. And go
Yeah, and so in terms of like those types of people,
Mm-hmm.
What we say as Sikhs is those people have been influenced by the five thieves,
Oh,
and
ooh, five
those
thieves. Is that part of that thing that you could just share with me? Is that on the screen? Let me
absolutely, yeah.
pop that up
Let me see if I.
there. At is this is the five thieves: ego, lust, anger, attachment, and greed.
Uh-huh.
Okay, please go. Tell me about that.
Okay, so what the five thieves are those things that keep you away from God,
Mm-hmm.
and those things really affect like other people and how they think,
Mm-hmm.
like especially ego. And what we say is that religions, and not every denomination in those religions are very exclusive. I mean, there's some sects of Christianity and some sects of Judaism that would have like a similar position to what Sikhs have,
Yeah.
and also there's Sufi Islam, which
Mm-hmm.
many people will claim uh, Sikhism had a lot of influence from, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like the names of God being similar. It's an
Yeah.
idea that's also found in Sufism too. Um, but yeah, in terms of like the ego, it's because of somebody's ego that they've fallen away from God, and that's really affected the
Okay.
doctrines of other religions, and it's what made them full of chut, as we would call them,
Okay.
falsehoods that began to permeate those other religions and keep them away from like the words of God.
Okay. So
Mhm.
ego in this sense, I'm probably not thinking the psychology definition. Maybe. Could you define ego for me in the way Sikhism sees it?
Absolutely. So, what the ego is people who think that themselves are better than uh, than others.
Mm.
And oh yeah, I can
Mm.
even show.
Okay, good.
Okay, this is not really showing.
Mm. Yeah, that's not going to help me.
Yeah. Oh, no worries, no worries. Uh, I can just go into
Anyway, so
five.
you're saying that ego is when somebody considers themselves superior and therefore serves their own interests against the interests of society or the overall group. So it's a selfishness behavior. Okay, understood. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's look at the next one. Lust was the next one.
Absolutely.
Okay, please scroll.
So,
See it?
oh yeah, let me scroll. Let's see. So lust right here. Yeah. So so lust. This is something that also keeps somebody away from uh, the the light of God,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that uh, they want to get instant gratification
Mm-hmm.
and not see like the long term effects that it would cause on somebody's soul.
Mm.
So like somebody who just wants to just be promiscuous just because they can,
Mm-hmm.
and that in of itself will harm the connection in to God. Now we don't necessarily mean like, okay, so somebody who has multiple wives, for
Yeah.
example, because some of our gurus they had yeah, some of our gurus had multiple wives.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but the thing is, the difference is that the gurus we believe are 10 gurus. We believe that they are perfect
Okay.
and they are the most perfect people that ever walked the earth.
Okay.
And so, what they did with those other wives is they weren't lustful. They did not
Oh, I've lost you. Audio. Ooh, you're frozen. I wonder if you got a phone call. Ooh, sorry. Ouch. Crashies.
Huh. Can you see me?
There. Yes, now you're back. Yay! Welcome back. So, we were talking about 10 perfect people, and that they, with their additional wives, were not lustful, and therefore that was cool. Could you tell me about the? Okay, I came from Christian. I also was a Jewish convert from 2000 to 2007, so I'm very familiar with that zone of things, and a little familiar with Sufi, not much. Um, could you tell me about Sikhism's opinion about what is appropriate sex? I'm, I'm
Okay.
I'm hearing something like a monogamous thing is the preferred state. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tell
Yes. So monogamy is what we prefer as Sikhs,
me.
even though, yes, there were exceptions in our history.
Hmm.
But those exceptions, they did it for the good of the community, the Panth. So they had kids so they could keep the community of Sikhs alive, so pass
Okay.
on Sikhism to the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be
Sometimes
the
not important. Hmm.
yeah, that would be the exception. Also, what the appropriate and the most desired relationship for Sikhs is a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be heterosexual.
Oh,
It could
nice.
be it could be homosexual,
Hmm.
um, and you could still find you could still not be lustful if even if you're homosexual.
Mm-hmm. What is the downside of lust? And could you define lust for me so that I understand how Sikh sees it?
Hmm. Absolutely. So I got the definition on screen.
Hmm.
So uh, pleasure, sexual gratification, sexual fulfillment, pleasure of the senses, desires, eros, or the aesthetic enjoyment of life. So
Hmm.
it goes in with the ego, like I want this because I can,
Hmm.
and I want this because it will give me pleasure in the moment.
Right. Right.
So what
I,
seeks
I hear I hear the issue is when it becomes excessive and costly. Yeah.
yes.
Okay. And where do you define the line of excessive and costly as relates to Sikh goals?
So where it becomes excessive is if you are like for example you're in a relationship
Hmm.
and you commit infidelity a lot.
Hmm.
You cheat on your girlfriend or your
Hmm.
wife, and you're not honest with your wife about any of the relationships that you're engaging in,
Oof.
and that causes and when you and if you do get caught, it would cause fracture within your relationships,
Hmm.
and it would harm you in the long run. And
Yes.
so
Yes, that would
what's
definitely.
what Sikhism it says that you shouldn't do that. You should be in a loving relationship, and if you're in a monogamous relationship, just don't cheat on your girlfriend or spouse
Hmm.
whatsoever, because that's not going to lead to the best outcome for anybody.
Yeah.
And it's it doesn't get you closer to God. Um,
Right. Definitely would not get you closer to God. I'm firmly of the mind that cheating is about lying, and in my environment, it's not so much about sex; it's about lying about sex, and complete agreement in that. I'm interested in understanding um, where my sex becomes troublesome,
mhm.
uh, and let's assume that I'm in a committed relationship, and would sex in that committed relationship be when does sex in that committed relationship become a problem to me achieving this overall oneness?
Okay, that's a good question. So let's say if you're not don't have infidelity, but
Hmm.
you are not a good person to your spouse or
Hmm.
your girlfriend, and you just seem to just use them for that specific purpose.
Ah, okay.
You don't listen to their needs. You
Mm.
don't understand the wants. You don't understand what the desires are. You don't know your partner as a person, and that itself would be a really bad action
Yeah.
because what you're doing is you're using somebody for the means to your own ends.
Hmm.
And what Sikhism says is that you shouldn't do that. You should treat somebody as a means to their own ends,
Hmm.
and you should treat them as if you. It says this in Sikhism that every man is to see every woman, regardless of who they are, as their sisters or mothers, and that's the type of
Okay.
respect that you should give to every woman.
That really rules out sex. Sisters and mothers for me are the definition of women who I should not look that way at. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, I know that, but I guess what I was trying to get at was that see, respect them as if you would respect your family members, but
Mhm.
don't literally see them as a as a as your sister, because
Mhm.
obviously we're
Okay,
not
so,
domestic
I shouldn't take that metaphor too far. That's fine, or the analogy. Uh, yeah, good. So if I'm managing to treat my partners with deep respect and caring, and the sex is secondary in that relationship, then I'm probably keeping it at the right level.
absolutely.
Good. All right. Fantastic. Uh, how about the next one? We have ego. We have lust. What's the next one on the stack?
Absolutely. Let me just bring that up. So we have greed. We also have attachment, which is another
Okay.
big one.
Okay. Attachment. How is that distinct from ego?
So what distinguishes this from ego is about like the attitude of like I'm superior, whereas more as what of what we call attachment means that simply seeing the transient as permanent.
Ah,
So
okay.
see like seeing that this world is the only uh only world that it's seeing that this life is the only life we're going to have. So
Okay.
and we can see this metaphor throughout a lot of our lives. Like when we grow up, sometimes we don't keep in contact with the same friends. We may
Right.
not have the same professions.
Hmm.
So it's what Sikhism is saying is that we shouldn't be uh, too attached to our uh, worldly desires, worldly possessions,
Hmm.
um, whether it be the goal that we have or the relationships. Because at the end of the day, when we die, those people are not coming with us.
Right.
So we have to be comfortable in the fact that this world is temporary.
In 2023, I went through a process this year of clarifying and typing out my goals. And it seems like my goals outside of my own inner circle now are to make the world better for grandchildren. It's a thing that survives me. I hope that's in line with what you mean.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so, with that goal in mind, you're making the world a better place for the next generation.
Hmm.
But what we also mean is that seeing that, like, let's say this, you have a relationship or kids. When you die, when you go into the next realm, like when you reincarnate, if someone's bad, those same people are not going to be in your life anymore,
Right. Right.
and you'll have a new set of people.
Yeah.
Um, or
I've
if
broadened
you're
it from my grandchildren to grandchildren. So yeah, it's obviously the vast majority whom I've never met and never will.
Mhm. Yeah, but and this is something that all Sikhs aspire to do, and
Mm.
we but we don't advocate like a complete like renunciation of the world
Hmm.
as to asceticism. Uh, the Guru said that we should be involved in the world at all times.
Hmm.
Uh, the perfect analogy that our Gurus gave was think of like a think of like a grasshopper
Hmm.
in in a pond,
Hmm.
and he's just swimming across the pond, and his head is above the water,
Mm.
and he's not totally submerged.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
So part of your perception is outside the world, and most of you is involved in the world.
Mhm.
Nice. I like it. Okay, so infatuation would be grabbing a hold of things or ideas, being really into your car or your house or your social status or your uh, goals that are transitory and not in the higher plane of reaching that oneness.
Mhm.
Okay. Next one.
Yep. Okay, so let's go back. And oh yeah, there's rage as well,
Okay.
uncontrolled anger.
Okay.
So this is also big in Sikhism, where you shouldn't let your anger get the best of you.
Mm,
Like you shouldn't allow your anger to just control your every action, because
right.
sometimes it can lead to bad consequences.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Usually.
mhm.
Hmm.
Now, there are times where anger
Hmm.
can be useful,
Oh, yeah.
but those are exceptions and not the rule. Uh,
Anger's
our,
far too easy a tool to reach for. Oh, my.
yes, and our gurus, what they taught us is that since the gurus were perfect, they didn't have any anger. They
Oh.
were they were rid of that, and we as Sikhs,
Hmm.
our job is to strive to be like that, to be like
Okay.
our gurus,
Yeah.
and to not have eventually not have any anger in our lives.
So heroic behavior is to have your anger completely under emotional control, under expressive control.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's a that's a great teaching. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, and the next one,
Hmm.
I think we did we discuss greed, or yeah,
We
I think
haven't
we
yet,
already did.
but that'd be the last one, I think.
Okay,
Now,
so
greed,
greed.
attachment. I'm wondering how that's distinct.
So what how this is distinct from attachment is
Hmm.
so greed refers to I mean, it's similar to attachment being having this this type of like clinging to the world,
Hmm.
like clinging to it, seeing that that this world is all there is. But I think with greed, it's more like having like a temptation
Mm.
of having these temptations of like I want to have this this car because I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we say is that you should be happy with what you have
Mm-hmm.
and not strive for anything more. Because if you do strive for more than that, then it's not going to end up well for you. Because I mean, I remember there was a statistic that said that the higher your income is in the
Mm.
top 1%, the lower your happiness is.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so,
I'm nowhere near the top 1%, so that's not a risk for me. Yeah. Okay, so I get these 5 demons. Now, I saw on the original page 5 things on the inside of the circle that appeared to be defenses, maybe?
absolutely.
Solutions to that? Could we go through those
Yeah.
quick?
hmm
Or not quickly? It's your show.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah. So these are the 5 virtues.
Okay.
These are the 5 things that get you closer to God. We call them the 5 treasures.
5 treasures.
Uh,
Okay.
and so what they are is compassion,
Mhm.
truth,
Mhm.
contentment,
Mhm.
humility, and love.
Mhm. Okay, how are those distinct from each other?
Okay.
They're
So
very overlapping in my thinking.
it is that there's a lot of overlap between them.
Mhm.
So uh, I would start with truth first. So
Thank you.
what we mean by truth is not necessarily like you could tell the truth and you could say something truthful, but what's better is truthful living. Like, in other words, practicing what you preach.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. That's my 4th epistemology, that, when you see how people behave, you can actually measure their values as opposed to
absolutely.
what they say.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
this is a big tenet is in Sikhism, and this is what all Sikhs uh, strive for
Mhm.
is to not just say what is truthful, but be
Mm.
be truthful themselves. Like,
Mhm.
and this is what Guru
Not just
Nanak.
in communication, but in their action, but in their behavior, in their responses, and their choices. Mhm.
Yes, and this is what Guru Nanak, our first guru, really criticized others for, is that
Wow.
they, even though they were saying stuff that was truthful, they
Mhm.
weren't living it. And so, with us as Sikhs, what's important, and this is why it's a big tenet in Sikhism, is not just uh, telling the truth, but also living the truth, like doing Japsi Sahib,
Mhm.
Satnam, waking up at 3 a.m. to do
Mhm.
your daily prayers, and also uh, going throughout your day, making an honest living for yourself,
Mm.
and then sharing the fruits of your labor with others.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Cool, cool. Okay, so
And
that's truth. Next one.
mhm. And so there's compassion.
Okay.
So what compassion is this quality where you you have sympathy for others, but also stand up for what is right.
Okay.
Uh,
Be heroic.
so
Good.
so like in our history, we have a bunch of examples where our gurus our other and other Sikhs were shaheed, which is mean martyred,
Okay.
and we did that out of compassion uh, for others, like the Hindus. Um, when the Muslims wanted to exterminate the Hindus, we
Mhm.
refused,
Yeah.
and this was our way of upholding this one virtue in Sikhism, which is compassion. We
Who
have
died and whose choice was it?
one of our gurus died. I
Okay.
believe it was the ninth or eighth guru, and he he said I do not want you guys to persecute the Hindus.
Uh,
Instead, take my life. And
okay.
so his
Okay. So
self.
he offered it, and other people took him up on it.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
And because of this is something that is very inspiring to see. This is something that one of these days we may have to stand up for
Hmm.
uh, what is right and for others.
Is the dagger thing part of that?
Oh, the kirpan?
I guess so. I don't know the name of these things. It's in your Sikh emblem there, the two daggers,
Oh, yeah. So
or maybe it's
that's,
not a dagger. It's a ceremonial knife, right?
yeah. So
Hmm.
the what we see in the Ganda is those two knives represent the Miri and Bidi. So Miri is the temporal world, and the Biri is the uh, is the world above us, the spiritual.
Okay, so those knives in the things are not the representation of the ones. Are there? I'm understanding there's um a knife, a gyuri. Sorry, I don't want to say it wrong. That you're supposed to have with you.
Yes, the
Yeah.
kirpan. Um, so what the kirpan is a it's a ceremonial dagger, and
Hmm.
that's used by Sikhs that go through Amrit, which is through
Hmm.
baptism, and become part of the
Okay.
Khalsa.
Okay.
And what the Khalsa
To
is,
it's not for all Sikhs. It's for an office of Sikh
mhm.
clergy.
We don't call
Okay.
them
Go ahead.
clergy because our gurus abolished the priestly system a long
Okay.
time ago
All right.
because they believe that that connection to God doesn't come from any hierarchy. Everybody can have equal
Okay.
access to,
Like Quakers, maybe.
yeah,
Hmm.
similar.
Yeah.
So uh, with the Kirpan, with the 5Ks,
Hmm.
this is something that all Sikhs are supposed to have it all. I'm a Sanditari, so for me, the 5Ks are up to interpretation.
Okay.
Um, but for the Amritari, that has to be visible since they have a
Okay. So
visible Kirpan.
this there's two words. The second one is Amrit. I forget the first one. Uh,
Sanditari.
Sandatari. That that one you're able to be fluffy on them, and then at this other level you're differently fluffy. Is this like a difference between Orthodox and Reformed or liberal Judaism? Like, or is this a difference of rank and development to where at this level you're like a civilian, and at this level you are a representative?
So it is more like the civilian and representative, but also I would use the example of Orthodox and Orthodox and just Reform.
Okay.
Uh, for me, as a Sanditari, I conform to the 5Ks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but the way I do it is it's up to interpretation. So when I hear the word Karban, what that means is like, okay, being ready at all times. Like if somebody is threatening my life or someone else's life, I have
Mm-hmm.
to like stand up and fight for what is right.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and like the Ganga, the comb, is just means for me
Mm-hmm.
grooming myself, keeping myself nice and tidy. Uh, um, yeah, but I'll go back to the 5Ks, but I want to just
Mm-hmm.
talk about the five treasures
Yes,
a
please.
lot more. So the five treasures. So one of we have compassion, which we went over, is just standing up for what is right in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then we have truth, which we discussed, and
Mm-hmm.
then contentment.
Mm-hmm. Contentment. Is
So
this
this,
this is about the same idea of being okay with what you have and not striving beyond your means?
mm-hmm,
Okay.
absolutely. And this is just to accept your circumstances that you have
Okay.
and try and work within God's hukum. And
Mm.
as a result, what will happen is that when you let go of these desires caused by greed, is that you'll become closer to God,
Yeah.
and you will have like yeah, more spiritual mind. And the next one we have is humility.
Mhm.
So humility, uh, this is not the same thing as not being able to notice like differences within somebody's within different religions.
Mhm.
Uh, and it's not to say like you can't have the any opinion of like something being better or not better, like one medicine is better than the other.
Mm.
What it means is that, oh, what is that?
I just says yes, right. I agree. I can have lots of opinions about what actually works without
Hmm.
any sort of inhumility.
Yes. And so, what humility really means to us is it's sharing the fruits of our labor with others and helping others when in times of need. Like an example will be langar. So langar is a feast that we give after every Gurdwara service, and this is open to everyone of any different faith.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
so what our gurus taught us is that it doesn't matter what faith you have. We are
Mhm.
all children of God, and we all
Mhm.
deserve to be fed.
Yes. Yes. I used to live near a temple. I don't think it was Sikh, but they were vegetarian or probably even vegan. And every Sunday they had an open feast for everybody until finally the city was like, "Oh no, we don't like this for reasons." And I used to go there a lot. And,
Yeah,
I'd throw $5 in because I wasn't actually asking for a free meal. It was just a really good meal and nice company.
yeah. I'm actually surprised that that city would do something like that. I mean,
Yeah, Los Angeles is weird about that, and the problem was they were attracting too many homeless people, and that was annoying the city fathers because they are not humble, and they are greedy, and they are egoistic.
100%.
Naughty. I mean, jeez.
Yeah. So with our Lunga, and I've participated in Lunga a couple times. Uh, the one thing I love about it is that we don't notice any distinctions when we're feeding others. We
Mhm,
just see others as someone who loves God just as much as we do,
mhm,
and we wish to serve them and uh, make them make them happy in terms of like the bellies, make the bellies happy.
mhm. Oh, yeah. It's a good pro-social thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope for a world in which no one is hungry because everyone has immediate access, unquestioned, to basic nutrition.
Hmm. And one of the biggest places where we do like langar is the Golden Temple in Amritsar,
Mm,
the Hari Mandir. Um, so a lot of Sikhs will end up volunteering from all over the world because this is uh, this is a really big uh, thing for us Sikhs is to have this type of humility.
mhm.
And by going to the Hari Mandir, we're able to feed not just like a small portion, but a large number of people in India.
Yeah.
And a lot of those people that come in there, they're mostly not Sikh, they're mostly Hindus,
Oh,
and
fine.
we don't care.
Mhm.
We we'll just feed you because you're just somebody who needs food.
Fantastic. Is there a fifth one?
Absolutely. Love.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, having love is not just like love for others.
Mm-hmm.
What we mean is love specifically uh, for others and for God.
Mm-hmm.
Having to keep God in our minds at all times,
Mm-hmm.
and being very showing our love and gratitude for God for what God has given us. And we do this by doing the three prayers every day. We
Mm-hmm.
wake up at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and do a prayer. Then at sunset we do a prayer, and
Mm-hmm.
then right before we go to bed we do a prayer, and that is how we show love for God.
Why is the
And
alarm clock at 3 a.m. important?
so, what our gurus taught us is that 3 a.m. is a very special time because that's the ambrosial hour of the day,
Okay.
and that is the day in which a part of the day in which we will get the most spiritual connection to God.
Okay. Do you go back to bed after?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, is that normal that you would go back to bed after?
Uh, well, yeah. I mean, no.
Yes
For
and
me,
no.
I don't. I stay up because I'm
Okay.
like, I'm up. I praise God, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go out on my daily routine and
Right.
just
So you just shifted your sleep schedule to wake at 3 a.m.
mhm.
Okay. Well, might I ask how much sleep do you get?
I get about like 8 hours.
Okay.
I try to get eight
Good.
hours. Most sometimes I get 6 hours,
Okay.
but
So you go to bed soon after sundown. I do as well,
yeah.
but I've been maxing out my sleep on purpose. Um. Anyway. um. Yeah. Thank you for this. I understand so much more about what's important to Sikhism now. I'd like to ask a few maybe challenging questions. I
Yeah.
ima- Imagine that there were uh, an 11th guru. Is that possible? That there could be an 11th guru?
I'm
No.
sorry. No.
10 is
So
absolute limit.
yeah. So the reason why it stops at 10 is because the last human guru,
Hmm.
Guru Gobind Singh. So what
Uh-huh.
he did is he passed on the guruship to the Adi Granth,
Hmm.
making it the Guru Granth Sahib. Um, and that is our eternal living guru.
So
Is the
that's a group of not the 10, but a group of gurus that now take that role.
no? So the Guru Granth is the book. So
I misunderstood. Thank you. Okay, so the 10th one said, "I am the last, and the book is all of your gurus for going forward."
yes, so
Oh,
the 10th Guru said is that the Guru Granth Sahib is the Guru going forward, and the reason why he passed it onto the book was
mhm,
because people in the future would claim to be the next Guru,
mhm.
and they wouldn't really be uh, leading the Sikhs in the right direction. So he passed it on to the book because that will make sure that Sikhism doesn't branch off into other different
Okay,
religions.
nail
Like,
it
for
down.
example,
Nail
yeah.
it down when we know it, and get it concrete, and push that forward in time. Okay.
Mhm. Uh, Also, it has happened in the past. Like the first guru had, he passed on the guruship not to his son, but to somebody who was in his congregation. The reason
Ah,
why he did that
so
was
was
because
the sun usually the next guru?
no. So
No.
the son. wanted to be the next guru, but the guru he said that he doesn't want nepotism within Sikhism,
Okay,
and
good.
so were you going to say?
I said good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but instead, what happened was one of his sons didn't like that, and he decided to form his own
Mm,
religion.
okay.
And they're still around. They're called the Udasis,
Uh-huh.
and they have uh, they have their own set of gurus. And but the thing is, we don't consider them to be Sikhs because the their traditions have really branched off of Sikhism into
Okay.
like something completely different.
This gives me an opportunity for the hypothetical that I want. Now,
Okay.
this is going to make you work. What could you learn tomorrow? You don't think is true. You don't think it's true today. That would lead you to think that the Adasis are slightly more right than they are. Maybe they're move them close to truth and value with Sikhism.
Okay, that's a little bit tough because
Hmm.
the
Thank you.
Udasis, they their beliefs are fairly different, and some of them don't even claim to be Sikhs anymore.
Right.
Um, so I think what would move them to be closer to the Sikhi would be uh, it would be to don't follow this nepotistic model of of guruship.
Okay.
Uh,
So if they got rid of the nepotism part, that would help a lot.
mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if they got rid of the nepotism, and also a lot of them nowadays have embraced polytheism, which is
Mhm.
something that uh, Sikhs reject. We only restrict monotheists, so getting them to come away from polytheism would be
Okay.
another win.
Why
Uh,
why do you why do you prefer monotheism to polytheism? What is the reason behind that to think that that's a pass fail?
so the reason why the Gurus rejected polytheism is
Hmm.
because polytheism is it's splitting up uh, God into different parts,
Hmm.
and it's also the result of Maya. Like what we call Maya is this illusion of the world that's
Hmm.
caused by our own egos.
Okay.
Because when you see like a lot of polytheism, we see like a god of a certain thing, like a god of the ground, or a god of the ocean, or a
Hmm.
god of the sky,
Hmm.
and those are the results of Maya. This illusion that we cast out from our egos of the world,
Hmm.
and it's riddled within superstition as well, which is something the
Hmm.
gurus also rejected. Um,
Hmm.
and so,
I'm
yeah.
hearing that the reason why you reject polytheism is that the gurus said that polytheism is an illusion caused by the demons, caused by those bad things. Uh, is there other reason that allows you to see from the outside to validate that?
So what we to validate this, um, so when we see like and I'll give you a good story from the Guru Granth
Hmm.
Sahib, like what so like when the first guru was
Hmm.
growing up, he was growing up in a Hindu household, and they wanted him to do all of these traditions.
Hmm.
And yes, what? Why should I do them? And they were like, oh, these are traditions. This will be good for like this certain god by doing this certain practice.
Hmm.
And he was like, well, the Muslims don't do this. And so he was like, look, if this is specific,
Hmm.
and they are also saying this is specific, then for me, none of them none of them can really be specific. Whatever,
Right.
like,
You'd have to look for the common overlap, and only in that overlap could you have something that was necessary.
mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so with us Sikhs is that this overlap is very important, and having this superstition that comes along with polytheism as well is something that will keep your mind away from God, that keeps you in the attachment of the world.
Okay. So
Like,
polytheism is dysfunctional in that it's distracting from the
mhm.
core goals. Okay. Can you tell me about the nature of that one God?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So what we believe in Sikhism is God's nature is shapeless,
Hmm.
timeless, and flows through all living things.
Okay.
And so, what our conception of God is that God is one,
Hmm.
and God is found within me,
Hmm.
you, and everybody, everything.
Okay.
Uh, every rock is there's this one analogy I remember with a rock. So uh, someone says that this certain rock is holy, and
Hmm.
this other rock is not holy.
Mm.
Well, the gurus say, well, that doesn't make sense. If that one's holy, then surely the other one must be holy as well.
So there's no distinction. All
Mhm.
right. Got it. Very good. Christians think that God is three parts: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Are they mono or polytheist?
So what we consider them to be is we consider them to be polytheists,
Hmm.
much in the same way with Hindus, since they also believe that the creator, destroyer, and sustainer are in three parts.
Hmm.
Um, they're inhabited. It's one single deity that's
Huh?
split up into three
Like three
different.
faces. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we as Sikhs reject that, and we say no, God is not just three of a pair.
Uh-huh.
God is one. He's the creator, destroyer, and the sustainer,
Okay.
all in one.
Very good. Um, Imagine I had a religion. I bet there are some that believe in a monotheist God, maybe Zoroastrian, uh, uh, and that there is a second God that is in conflict, like Satan or devil or a negative, a demigod. I'm thinking of several religions. Would they be polytheistic in your worldview?
So the Zoroastrians, I would say, yeah, the Zoroastrians would be polytheistic
Okay.
because they believe that in the Amenta Spenta, I believe it's called.
I don't know the names of these things very well.
So
I suck at
I
names. I'm good at ideas, but names don't stick.
it's cool, it's cool. Um, so yeah, the Amenta Spenta, I think that's called, and that is saying that God is seven different people that are also one. We we don't really accept that as Sikhs. We see that as just as much as polytheism as the Hindus are. And so, what we consider to be like monotheist, closer to ours, would be something like Judaism or Islam, uh, and those would
Yeah.
be closer to our our belief system. Like, remember this one saying by Guru Nanak that said, "The Hindus are blind and the Muslims see with only one eye." And
Mm, 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 mm.
so the Muslims, they're right. They're right in a sense that there is one God, and but the thing is, the one eye blinded because they see God as out there, but
Yeah.
we see God as everywhere
Yeah.
within us as Sikhs.
So as an atheist, I probably have both eyes closed. Uh, I'm an agnostic atheist. I'm not certain that there's no God. I just think the likelihood is low. Though the way you're defining God, if I don't concern myself with too much of what creator means, is easy for me to believe exists. That's a most reasonable God in my stack. What advice do you have for atheists about how to live the best? Um, Maybe that's partially getting one eye partially open, or maybe that's learning how to live blind.
So, what our gurus taught us is that in our scriptures
Mhm,
we have ways on how to be a good Hindu, how to be a
mhm,
good Muslim, how to be a good Jain, how to
mm,
be a good Zoroastrian.
mhm,
So we what we do is what we would say to an atheist: be the best ethical person you can, and if you can open your one of your eyes to God, then that would be great.
mhm,
But I can't I can't change anyone's mind. That's one thing I've
mm.
learned from uh, from the
I,
West.
I hope to change your mind about that. Please continue.
Okay, so I can't change people, but I will help people
Hmm.
become the best versions of themselves.
Mm,
And let's say this: an atheist dies, lives a good moral life, and okay, so he gets reincarnated into another loving family. Still, good things will happen to him, but also let's say he comes to uh, the in life he comes to the point where he believes that okay, God is real,
hmm.
and then when he dies, then he'll become one with God. So for me, if someone doesn't believe in God, it doesn't matter. What matters is if they are the best person in this life.
Mm, mm. Thank you very much for this. I really appreciate this conversation, going through five things: the ego, the lust, attachments, all those things that distract us from being the best ethical person we can be, um, and those five defenses: the truth, compassion, trust, love. Trust, sorry, not trust. Trust wasn't in that list. It's sort of in that list. Uh, but all of the pro-social ways in which we get there, I really, really like the the Sikh tone in all of this, and I appreciate it muchly. Do you have any summary that you'd like to leave us with?
Absolutely. So um, I would like to say that with us as Sikhs, we've been through a multitude of persecutions, and we still
Hmm.
survived. And our universal message to all of humanity is uh, just be good, and let's all help each other because we are all children of God, and we all deserve respect, love, and care. And if somebody is not a believer, it's okay. In the next life, they will come to uh, the belief in God. But in this life, what really matters is doing good, living your truth, earning money through honest means, and then sharing that with the rest of the world around you. And that's the universal message of the Sikhs. And this is what we all strive to do, uh, and we will continue to do in until we are no longer.
Hmm. Niels's channel is right down in the description, and I am subbed, and I look forward to seeing what he tells me. I have really valued this input today, and I will try to take it on and see if it improves my ethical situation. I do hope that you're right. I would like to have reincarnation rather than annihilation. And good. I hope you're right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And if we both wave, the thing will the AI will cut off the broadcast.
Okay.